Hi, now I'm going to talk about something that I have been through and that I receive a lot of questions about. And now I'm talking to people who have completely devoted their lives to God. Like, I'm all in, I want to live God, I want to experience Him as much as possible on the earth. I want to become the clearest manifestation of God on the earth. And I'm ready to give up everything to become that. So for those people, I have this message, and for myself as well. If I feel bad at any days, you can send me the link of this video to avoid hours of counseling. So many times when you devote yourself completely to God and you say you're all in, you might face some crazy challenges, some incredible resistance, like your life feels like it's collapsing. Your relationship with God seems like it doesn't function anymore. And this is when people feel like I'm doing everything wrong. I mess it up. I can't even give myself to God. Like, even my surrender to God is done wrong because obviously it has like bad fruits. I talk about these things and um, desert videos. Um, I have 3 of them where I talk about those kind of experiences. And what I can tell you is that I've gone through these things. When I started to like see God with all that I am, and suddenly everything turned against me. And you can sense that this is the greatest attack you can have on darkness. Like, when you devote yourself completely to God, it provokes the whole world. Like, you might not know how important your decision / realization is, but the spiritual world knows how important it is. It knows how much it will affect you and how much it will affect the whole universe. So when you give up yourself to God, when you surrender to Him completely, it just changes the whole world. You are many times not completely aware of the consequence of your decision. You feel like this is what you have to do. This is what you feel like to do. It's not like you take this lightly. It's just you don't fully know how many consequences it has. So what happens many times is that the status quo in you is blown up. There is the true you, the original you, the true self, the God self, the new creation, God's original intention, God in you. And there is the illusion self, the twisted self. You can call the ego or the old creation. And there is kind of like a balance of it. Like, there are things of the old creation that you are okay with, like you tolerate certain lies and pains in your life, and there is a little bit of tension of the two in you, but they are kind of okay. They kind of agreed not to attack each other too much. But when you give your all, when you decide that no matter what, I'm gonna give myself up completely to God, then you claim war on the twisted self. And then all the lies and strongholds in your twisted self are rebelling against this decision. Like, they try to have their last attack. They are really upset that they're losing ground. And it sounds silly to like impersonate them, but this is how they act sometimes, like as if they have their own personality and as if they could conspire against you and try to distract you from the path you just have chosen. And I'm not talking about like saying the sinner's prayer and accepting Jesus. I'm talking about when you realize that your life is God and you want to be Him and know Him as deep as possible on the earth. This is a sure sign that your illusion self has an expiration date. Like, it's sooner or later it's gonna be over when you come to that devotion to God. And this so many times your surroundings, people around you and situations around you tend to be very aware of your devotion to God, and they, even if they don't know it, they try to do everything to like make it impossible. Like, you decide you would spend more time with God and all of a sudden you could spend less than you used to spend before. You decide that you will give more attention to God and all of a sudden you are more confused than ever. And this can be tough, but this is not the toughest thing. The toughest thing is the resistance from the inside. Your own messed up thoughts and thinking patterns, your own ego, if you like it. And I don't want to like scare anyone, but when I really started to like devote myself to God, at the beginning I had terrible resistance. Now I'm doing quite well, but first it was like I felt like all of hell is against me, to destroy me, which is exaggerated a bit, but this is how I felt like. And what was really great about it is that I had such a like pull, such a drawing from God, that I couldn't help but saying yes to God, even if my whole life seemed to be turning upside down. So there was a point when I was worshiping for hours in my room, and I literally felt like if I continue, I'm gonna be killed. Like, I had this impression, like, if you continue doing that, we will kill you. And I was like, you could get scared of this if you want. I wasn't scared, but it was still uncomfortable. Like, I knew that it wouldn't happen, but it was like, is it that serious what I'm doing here? Like, I'm just having a great time with God. Like, it's not like a big thing. Like, I'm not doing a great thing for the world. That's what I thought. But you have no idea how much it impacts the world when you are with God. And the resistance comes according to the real value of your devotion, not according to your understanding of the real value of it. So this is natural, that a great resistance happens when you devote yourself to God. It's not your fault that it happens. It has happened to many people, including me, including all of my friends. We started to like go crazy for God, like at the same time, more or less, in 2016. and we have gone through the very, very similar things. Even though we had like different lives and different backgrounds, we had to face some kind of resistance in the inside as well. Yeah, and it was tough. It's not your fault. You don't have to look for like what did you do wrong, what kind of what kind of like sins have you committed, and what you have given space to in your soul. Don't be too obsessed with that. It's not your fault. This is the natural consequence of lives being unwilled. This is how cleanup happens. As if your soul is an old dusted house and now you have a great tidy up, and old furniture has to be moved, and there is dirt under it, and dried rats and all of these things, and it's smelly and dusty and disgusting, and it looks like there is a greater mess than it used to be. But then there's a container and everything will be thrown out, and there will be a large space in your soul that you have never had before. So this is a process that God guarantees. Like, he will back you up in that. Even if you feel like totally confused, what's going on in me? I'm facing lies and facing terrible feelings that I've never felt before. Just, it's okay. God is the one who has initiated this whole thing, who has taken you that far, and he's well able to take you even further if he was able to take you there. So don't try to like understand what's going on. Cleaning up is messy. And sometimes you face lies you never knew that were in your soul. I used to be very depressed and suicidal. So for me, facing terrible thoughts and lies in my head is not a shocking thing. Like, if I discover something very twisted about my way of thinking, I know that God is in charge, he's cleaning me up, I'm gonna be fine. What was surprising to me, that this kind of inner resistance is just as tough for people with no mental illness background. I thought like I had so many struggles because I had so many terrible baggages, you know, and my completely healthy friends started to devote themselves to God, and they were like crying every day, and they felt like their emotional stability is over, and they felt terrible. And I was so shocked that now you are just as messed up as I am. Like, what's going on here? And the reason is that there are lies that are compatible with life, and there are lies that are not compatible with life at all. And for me, I had so many twistedness in my soul that made life absolutely impossible for me. And that's why I had to face them. Like, before I devoted my life completely to God, I had like years of emotional healing and things like that. And my mentally healthy friends, they had lives that were quite compatible with life, and they never had to face them until the point they surrendered everything, because then they came to the surface. It's the same when you stack wood next to the stove, and all the insects start to come out of it because of the heat, because they can no longer tolerate it. You are experiencing more of God. You are realizing more of God in you. And you are coming to a place that is more and more uncomfortable for the lies and twistedness and anything that is not the kingdom of God. So it's not like what is going on with me. I have never had those things. You might just have never seen them or never faced them. And the presence of God is the safest place where you can face those things. Like, they are coming to the surface because God is about to deal with them. You don't need to be scared about them. Like, God, it's the very presence of God that made them show up, made them reveal themselves, and this presence of God is well able to react to them. God knows what made you believe those lies, when you started to agree with them. I'm talking about those things in the Way Out series a lot. And then you realize what are the truths that you can replace them with, and you just trust that this whole thing is because I have given myself to God, and all the terrible things that come to the surface are happening because of my surrender to God, and because of that, everything is gonna be fine, even if there's a huge mess coming with this idea. Yeah, and I have experienced it so many times, and I felt like I'm not able to do that anymore. So many times my friends could tell you that it was time to time that I called them and I told them that I'm not able to carry on anymore. Like, I can't do that. Maybe I'm not able to give myself up to God. I really want to, but this is just not happening to me. Everything is just getting worse and worse. Even my relationship with God is getting worse by it. It's having bad fruit. I am somehow able to even mess up my devotion to God. So I'm about to quit. And what I can tell you is that don't quit on those times. Don't go backwards, it doesn't help. But also don't freeze in that time. Like, oh, then I'm in a lot of pain and I'm gonna stay here. But let God draw you. Like, it was the drawing of the presence of God that made those things happen, like come to the surface and all that. So let it take you further, take you through this, and sometimes it even intensifies the resistance. Like, you say, I don't care the resistance, I'm all in, I'm going forward, and then all the lies in your head are like screaming and try to manipulate you and try to find hooks that will emotionally manipulate you into giving up. Most of the people experience those resistance. So you have this idea that you messed up because you face resistance, but actually most of the people never experience their total freedom in God because they were, at some point, they were scared of the similar resistance that you are facing now. Not the same resistance, but kind of the same. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not like you are alone. Thousands of people seeking God face those things. And you are absolutely doing great. And this is not because of you, and not because you are not even able to um, do the surrender right. I felt like that many times. This is all happening actually as a fruit of your decision or realization. Mm. And this won't last forever. Like sometimes when you go further, the resistance intensifies, but it's not like, oh, now my life is going to be terrible because I have given it up to God. Like, I had some intense issues, as I said before. Still, God was very wise in a way. He led me out of it. Like, many times he just we just cleaned up a room in the castle of my soul, and then he gave me a season of rest and let me just enjoy my new freedom. And then later we just discovered another basement full of shit, and then we threw them out as well. And there was another turbulence with that. But it's like you will have the peace and joy of God even in those turbulent times. And you will be used to it. Like, you won't be scared about them. You will actually, like, after a while you are like, oh yeah, this came to the surface because God is about to deal with it. I'm gonna be fine. Let's enjoy life. So it's not gonna shock you after a while. It can be quite enjoyable. And it's okay if you have no idea how you can enjoy it the first couple of times. And you can get overwhelmed and sad about it. It's also fine too. The reason I'm saying it is that these seasons don't last forever. It's not like you need decades of healing and your life is going to be miserable. God is kind enough to make this tidy up process an enjoyable and peaceful and joyful thing. So don't be scared that this is how you will react to resistance the whole time, and this is how hard you will sense it and all of that. Like, it's just the way it begins, and it's gonna be okay. This is one of the lies. The strongholds try to scare you to go backwards with. It's always gonna be that terrible. You will never have a peaceful, balanced life. Or you are wasting your life, you're wasting your relationship, you're wasting your career, you're wasting your destiny, you're wasting your calling of God, your gift from God, whatever. When you continue to do that radical giving up to God, like, this doesn't bear good fruits, you should go backwards. Like, there are a lot of manipulating sounds, and you don't have to do anything with them. Just don't take them seriously. Like, oh yeah, okay, God is the one who has led me into this. I'm not smart enough to devote myself completely to God. It's His work. If He has done this in me, He knows the consequences of it, all of the consequences of it, and He knows how to deal with them all. So this is also a time of trust, when you are like, all my emotions and senses are overwhelmed with some shit. And I'm trusting God in this, and I know He's working in me because it all happened because of Him, not like He gives you pain and suffering and turbulence, but it happens because His presence is tidying my soul of all the illusion things, and because it's happening through Him, I'm gonna be fine in it. And it won't destroy me. One of the manipulating expressions that you might hear is that it's gonna destroy you if you continue this, and it's not true, not at all. There is always resurrection on the other side of death. So if you feel like a part of you is dying, it's okay. Probably a part of you is dying that should be dead. Some crazy strongholds that are absolutely incompatible with the kingdom of God are about to be destroyed, and it's all good. It's not you dying, it's just the lie dying in you. You're gonna be better off after it. And then you have this resurrection that, oh, there is a new space left behind the lies. Like, yeah, this dusty wardrobe with all the spiders in it is thrown out, and now I have a nice corner in the room. Like, I could do something with that. So something dies, it means that something gets resurrected. So you can trust that as well. Yeah. So I just wanted to encourage you with this video that you are not alone in this. Many people go through it. Actually, everyone who devotes themselves to God have to go through some kind of resistance. The first time I had those, I told my best friend, like, oh, what's going on? And he always said, like, this is something you have to go through. And I was so upset about it. I felt like hitting him. And he was like, yeah, I went through it and you will go through it as well. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like all the things you collected, all those lies and pains you acquired, you liked them, you embraced them, and now you're giving them away. You get rid of them. And this is how you react to giving up your favorite strongholds. Yeah. So you're not alone. It won't last forever. God is in it. God will back you up. It's all happening in His presence. It's all about making you who you really are. It's not about making your life miserable, and it's not about testing you or making you prove your faith. It's not about that. It's a healthy process of tidying up with your agreement and under God's coordination. And it's okay to ask for help from other people, but what I'm saying is that you are in good hands. You are on the best track. You have given yourself up to God. It's the greatest realization you can have. And most of the people live their lives in their illusion selves the whole time. This is the best thing that ever happened to you. You have no idea how much impact it has. So let this drawing of God that led you here draw you even further, no matter what the resistance, and see how glorious is the resurrection after death. God bless you.